up with it, everybody? Live from the studios of WIUR here at the La Penta Student Union here at Iona University. It's Woolley Mammoth Wednesdays. I am your host, Cameron Woolley, bringing you the best and only the best sports on campus. So, let's lead off. No pun intended. The New York Yankees clinched the American League East last night in Toronto with a 5-2 win over the Blue Jays. Have a great feeling win, and they clinch a first round bye, which in today's playoff system is a very big deal, especially with the problems with the Yankees that they have right now in terms of player health, the extra week of rest, especially knowing how much they value rest and getting certain players off their feet as much as possible. This is a very big deal, getting that week off between the end of the regular season and the first game of the playoffs in the ALDS on October 11th. I love that it was in Toronto, in Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s self-proclaimed house that he was grandstanding on, what was it, Monday night, where after he walked off the Yankees in grand heroic fashion in the bottom of the 10th. And he grandstood. He was like, "This is my house." And then less than 24 hours later, the Yankees are popping champagne on his lawn. So that was great. But just gonna go on a little tangent about the Blue Jays for a minute. I tell you, man, that team has gotten on mine and a lot of other Yankee fans' nerves over the last year. Listen, honestly, I don't think I've seen a team act so arrogant despite not really accomplishing that much. I mean, think about it. Like, it's easy to forget, but last year they missed the playoffs. Sure, did they deserve to make it over whatever the Yankees were last year? Yes, absolutely. I think the Mariners deserve to make it over the Yankees last year. I think a lot of teams deserve to make it over the Yankees last year because that was an uninspired team. But this Yankee team isn't. This Yankee team is good. And like the Blue Jays, sure, they weren't bad last year, but it wasn't the trailer that Vladdy was gassing up last year. Like he was running his mouth about it, and he was like, "Oh man, last year was the trailer. This is the movie." But man, the movie hasn't really been up to expectations. Sure, it's not a bad movie. It's solid. It's like it's not Lord of the Rings. Like he was talking to us like it was going to be Lord of the Rings. But it turns out it was just, I'm trying to think of a mediocre pop culture film that's like good but not really that great. I think about like Spider-Man 3. Like Spider-Man 3, and I know that's going to get a lot of people after me, but he was hyping everyone up for Lord of the Rings, but instead we got Spider-Man 3. And that is ultimately what the Blue Jays season has been. They're going to make the playoffs, but they didn't win the division, and that is not what their expectation was. Like, and that team, like, they're genuinely unlikable too. Like, think about it, like, how can anyone look at this team, watch them play, look at the way they act, and still look at them and say, "Oh yeah, they're great for baseball. Yeah, I'll be in their corner come October." Like, seriously, how can anyone bandwagon these guys? Like over the offseason, like coming in, they just expected. Like they were coming in like they expected the league to just bow down to them. All because they swapped out Robbie Ray for Kevin Gausman, extended Jose Barrios, who's been a total flop, and they traded for Matt Chapman, who, yeah, he's a great defensive third baseman, but he's not a massive, like, he's not a game breaker. He's not what he was in Oakland a few years ago. But they were acting like those additions were going to be the thing that were going to make the Blue Jays win over 100 games and just walk over the American League East. and then walk over the American League and then walk over whoever they face in the World Series who comes out of the National League. Hold on. God, that was annoying. Okay. God bless me. Anyways, but hey, I was guilty of buying into the Blue Jays. I was guilty. Like on my personal podcast back home, I said that I picked them to win the American League. I am guilty as charged. And I didn't want it to happen because I I don't like them. But I thought it was going to happen and thankfully it didn't. And like they always clear out of the dugout at some point during a game. Like whether it be like someone looks at one of their players the wrong way or somebody or it's like a borderline call. They're always just running out of the dugout. They're like a hive of yellow jackets. Like they're just so annoying with how they carry themselves during games. And again, they carry themselves like they've already won multiple championships. Like and I have a problem with this with the Yankees too. They walk around with swagger that they don't deserve to be walking around with. Like the difference between teams that act with swagger now who haven't won championships and the difference between them and the 90s and 2000s Yankees with the confidence that they walked around with was that the 90s and 2000s Yankees already won 4 championships in the first 5 years of being together. But these teams like the Yankees now and the Blue Jays now, they haven't accomplished that. They haven't accomplished anything. The Blue Jays haven't even made the playoffs yet. Even though it's going to change, they are going to make the playoffs. Barring a historic collapse, which I'd be all for seeing. But no, it's not going to happen. They're going to make the playoffs. And they might make a run. Might make me eat my words. But no, I'm just talking about the status of the team right now. And the status of the team right now is a team that fell below expectations and didn't win their division. In fact, they were out of the race with over a week and a half left in the season to a team that was supposed to be terrible and just lay down and die for them. And also, like, I understand that they're happy to win a baseball game. Like, I understand that. I understand the whole let the kids play thing, and I'm for it. I love bat flips. I love showing emotion during games. But dude, there's a line. There's a line, and the Blue Jays crossed it multiple times. And they go over the top for seemingly every win against a half decent team. And again, I know I sound like your generic WFAN caller who calls in and says, get these kids off my lawn. These dang analytics. Calling in like the Eddie from the Bronx or something. I don't know, whatever generic WFAN caller name I can think of. Now, this is a question for them, like in regards to them celebrating. It's like, are you leaps and bounds better than everyone else, like you claim you are? Or are you such underdogs that every win against a competitive team is a huge deal? Like, it's fine to be one. Like, it's fine to have underdog mentality or alpha mentality. It's fine to have one. But the Blue Jays are acting like they have both. Like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, you can't be underdogs while also simultaneously seemingly being the favorite. That's not how sports works. I understand that they're athletes and they sort of have to have that mentality, but but it doesn't work. It just doesn't. And the Yankees finally, finally did what they haven't been able to do for years and took an annoying team that was running their mouths at them and shut them up and put them in their place. That is something that I have been waiting for the Yankees to do, like respond to being punched in the mouth. Like in years past, like last year, the Yankees would get punched in the mouth and they would just lay down for 3 more games and let a confident team like Toronto come in and walk over them. Just beat them up while they're down. But this Yankee team, they get hit in the mouth, they get back up, and then they hit him back. And they hit him back even more, and they hit him even harder than Toronto hit them. And it puts a smile on my face. It does. Like, I was down at Westchester Taco last night, like, just sitting down with a few friends, and I was, like, the only one who was really paying attention to the game. I started, like, clapping and pumping my fists like, "Yeah!" in the middle of a public restaurant with my friends, making a total fool of myself, but you know what? I was happy. I'm happy that the Yankees finally beat one of these annoying, young, cocky teams. And those are my thoughts on the Toronto Blue Jays. Now back to the, like, Yankees, just bringing the conversation back to them. Um, I've stressed before about the importance of winning early and winning a lot when you're healthy and fresh and out of the gate. And, to sort of hedge against bad stretches when guys get hurt. And the bad stretches, they inevitably came. And that amazing early stretch. And this is why I hate when people talk about, like, games in April and May, and then in the June, they don't matter. But April, May, and June is what got the Yankees to this point. April, May, and June are what got the Yankees in the position to be able to be the worst team in baseball for over a month and still clinch their division, a brutal division. Might I add, the American League East, best division in sports. I'm just going to go out and say it. The best division in sports, where every team top to bottom is super competitive and they will give any team a rough time. Except maybe Boston. Boston isn't really that tough. The Yankees took care of them. I was at that game on Friday night with a bunch of my friends. Actually, another WIUR host, Nick Bambina, the host of What Iona Thinks, which is a great show. I highly recommend you listen to it. But I was at that game on Friday, and it was fun. I got my cheese fries. It was fun. I wore my Judge jersey and jeans, and it was freezing by the fifth inning. But I didn't care. I didn't care because the Yankees ended up winning, and that game made me permanently hate Garrett Cole. And anyways, um, but yeah, they still won this brutal division with over a week to spare because they took spring seriously. And this isn't to say that this is the recipe for the future. No, what I want is a full 162 game effort because that is what the winning teams do. Is put in a full effort for 162 games and don't take their foot off the gas. And I am still angry at the Yankees for taking their foot off the gas for a month and a half and being perfectly content with being the worst team in baseball for a month and a half. And it even got to the point where the Yankees were like 4 games away from losing the division lead. Like that lead got tight really quickly. And it was because they took their foot off the gas. But you know what? When you start hot, it allows you to take your foot off the gas. I guess, technically speaking, even though I'm totally against it. But Anyways, um, just want to talk about like the outlook of the team, like the bigger picture as we wind down on the regular season. Like the Yankees can't win themselves into a better position. They can't lose themselves into a worse position. Like this is where they're gonna be. They're gonna be the number 2 seed, and they're gonna play the either the winner of the American League Central or the team that finishes third in the AL East. Because wait, that there's no real reason to that. But honestly, what the Yankees need to do now is get healthy. Get healthy and get guys back and acclimated to a live setting so they can contribute in a big way in October. The two guys that I like to think of are DJ LeMahieu. He's due back soon. He's probably coming back this weekend for the Baltimore series in the Bronx, which, you know, if LeMahieu is back 100%, that's amazing because DJ LeMahieu, I think by F4 was a top 20 player in the American League when he was completely healthy and a top 20 player in the AL at the top of the lineup, a guy who gets on base a lot for the human siege engine and Aaron Judge, then yeah, I would love a 100% healthy DJ to be back. But I don't want the bad toe DJ to be back. I want good DJ, not bad DJ. Because bad DJ is a wet noodle who can't really hit a baseball or can't really hit it hard. And honestly, a defensive liability. Like, I don't want DJ LeMahieu on a bad toe or on a bad anything to be starting playoff games. Without knowing the Yankees, that's probably what's going to happen. The Matt Carpenter. I mean, dude, imagine if he's back. He might be back for the final series in Texas. And I'm going to say this right now. If Matt Carpenter is like good to go by the playoffs, then I don't care what you do, you have to find a way to get him in the lineup. Matt Carpenter, let me look up his numbers real quick. Matt Carpenter, let's see. Right here. Before his injury, yeah, dude, Fangraphs is being weird. Before his injury, he had a 305 batting average, a 412 on base percentage. He slugged 727 with a 216 WRC plus and 2.3 wins above replacement in 47 games. In 154 plate appearances, he accumulated that much WAR despite playing nearly no defense. That is all offense. That is all his bat generating all that value. If that is healthy, I don't care what you do. For all I care, you could bench Stanton, and I know that is sacrilege, especially considering what he's done in the playoffs. But the way Stanton is hitting right now, if he's not healthy, I don't care what anyone says. He's playing hurt. I know healthy Giancarlo Stanton when I see him, and this is not healthy Giancarlo Stanton. And if Matt Carpenter is healthy come playoff time and Giancarlo Stanton isn't, then I don't care, dude. You bench Stanton and you start Carpenter because Matt Carpenter is the second best hitter on this team, aside from the obvious. Luis Severino, he's gonna get stretched out, and so far in his 2 starts back, he's looked great. His fastball, it's coming out hot, it's lively, and he would have gone more than 4 innings in Toronto and would have given up no runs if the Yankees actually started a shortstop that night. Although, unfortunately, the Yankees don't seem to want to start a shortstop and are just content with playing Isaiah Kiner-Falefa at whatever position that is, because whatever I am seeing at shortstop or the position that is supposed to be shortstop, that's not a shortstop. He's a great third baseman, but for some reason they don't want to play him there because of one analytic stat. No, I'm just gonna say this now. Prepare for a lot of punting. You know the Yankees, we like I talked before about the Yankees sort of taking their foot off the gas and punting months. Prepare for a lot of punting games. They are gonna lose most of these games the rest of the way because they are gonna most likely be playing their B lineup once Judge hits his 60-second home run, whatever that is. They're gonna bench him. You're gonna see no Stanton. I don't know. I don't want to see Stanton. I want to see him heal up. Like I don't want to see any Stanton. You're probably going to see less Harrison Bader. You're going to want to see him get off his feet as much as possible because he just came back from a foot injury and he's looked great, by the way. Just want to give a quick shout out to Harrison Bader. He's looked amazing. But no, they're gonna throw out a bunch of junk relievers. They're gonna not really play to lose, but they're not gonna play to win. They're not gonna have that extra charge that they have been putting in the last month. And they've had a great September, and they know that they've kinda earned the right to do it because they can't win their way into a better position. Houston has the 1 seed locked down, and they can't lose their way into a worse position, like, they're locked in the 2 seed. And that's sort of a good thing because there's like, you're certain, like, we know where things are gonna be in a week and a half, or is it 2 weeks from now? Hold on, let me look at this calendar right here. Yeah, so in, like, 2.5 weeks, we know where the Yankees are gonna be. But, again, they're gonna lose a lot of these games. And sure, it's gonna be annoying. I'm gonna be annoyed, I'm gonna be irritated, but that's just what's gonna happen. But just wanna talk about Judge for a second because how can you not? How can you not talk about this guy with the season he's having? Unfortunately, still at 60. Like, I thought he'd be clear of 64 after last week. I mean, after God, after the night before last week's recording, I mean, jeez. But no, he's still at 60, and I'm seeing so many people talk about, "Oh, Judge, oh, he's cold, he's slumping." Like, apparently now a 548 on base percentage and a 192 WRC plus over a certain stretch is considered a slump. So that is what your baseball media is telling you. Is that a guy with a 548 on base percentage and a 192 WRC plus is slumping because he hasn't gone deep in a week. And I've heard a lot of people also say he's pressing. No, I don't think he's pressing. Given that he has a 38.7% walk rate in the last week, I don't think a guy who's walking in over a third of his plate appearances is pressing to go deep. And I see people like Harold Reynolds running their mouth about this. It's like, dude, just shut up. Like, really, man? Just let Judge keep doing what he's doing. And he's probably gonna hit 2 home runs. I need to see him hit 2 home runs. No, I don't want him to lose this record, and it's possible. It's possible that he goes into an actual slump the rest of the year, or they just give him nothing to hit. But, that's just the way the game works, and I'm sure Judge is completely fine with not breaking the American League single season home run record if it means the Yankees are better positioned for the playoffs because that's just who Aaron Judge is. No, anyways, just want to briefly talk about the Giants for a bit before we wrap up today's show. Um, Unfortunately, I do think that the Linsanity run of Dable's Giants is over, at least for this year. It's like, I think in the coming years, things are going to get better. Like, the talent is going to get better. Like, the Giants are going to be playing some competitive football very soon. Very, very soon, we are going to be seeing the Giants play some very meaningful games. And it's great. It's great to know that the guys running the show have the presence of mind to not be veered off course despite a 2-0 start. And, you know, like I watched on Monday night that loss against Dallas, which I kind of thought was going to happen. Like, sure, I was excited going in. 'Cause I'm like, "Oh, dog, what if we start 3-0? Oh, that'd be so fun." And, like, again, I love the energy. I love having excitement about the Giants again. But, the offensive line outside of Andrew Thomas is abysmal. And Andrew Thomas is graded by PFF, and I know PFF is a bunch of garbage, but he's graded as the best offensive lineman in football. Like, having a bookend left tackle for the next decade, that's a huge deal. And Evan Neal, I'm sure he's not gonna be this bad for this long. I mean, the guy we just talked about was very bad in his rookie year. But, you know, um, there are a little bits of adjustments to be made to the offensive line. They just need a guard and a center. Honestly, just a guard and a center. And those are easy to find for cheap. Like, an average guard and an average center, that doesn't come for that much. You could just draft them in the second or third round. And, you can fix that up. And I trust Joe Shane and company to fix what needs to be fixed. I just want to talk about something funny. Kenny Galladay. I talked last week about how he was begging for more snaps. Like, he just whined to the press about not getting enough snaps. Zero catches on Monday night, so that's hilarious, and a litany of drops. So good job, Kenny G. You certainly earned more playing time, and he's probably going to get more playing time because the only good receiver on this team just tore his ACL by running. So that's a message to the Giants and Jets to actually pay for a grass field instead of playing with whatever god awful artificial turf they have in that joint stadium of theirs. And just want to say the run defense without Leonard Williams looked horrible. Like, it was Swiss cheese. It was paper mache, tissue paper, just whatever soft material you can think of. That was what the Giants' run defense was on Monday night without Leonard Williams. And I know they always do this, but they made Ezekiel Elliott look like he was like 6 years ago. Also, it's really been 6 years since Ezekiel Elliott got drafted. Oh my god, dude. Now, I just want to talk about Daniel Jones for a minute. I think this is kind of going to be the last segment of the show. Don't want to keep things too long. Um, Daniel Jones, he looked great. He looked like the upside that he showed for the first few years of his career showed in spades on Monday night. And he was like, I read the stat, don't hold me to it, but he dropped back to pass 34 times and he was pressured 22 times or pressured 25 times, something ridiculous. Like, it was some kind of record. Like, it was the most times a quarterback was pressured in the PFF era or since the stat was measured or something like that. Like, it was ridiculous. Now, I'm just going to give my complete opinion on Jones now that we're on the topic. Like, I'm just gonna say this about Jones. Like, yeah, he's a bust. Anybody with a brain knows that he's a bust. But it's not his fault. And I know that sounds weird, but when you think about it, he was drafted too high by the worst GM in modern NFL history. And said GM never built him a proper offensive line or a cast of guys at skill positions who could stay healthy and produce. He's had a revolving door of terrible coaches and backwards offensive systems until it was too late, and he was already cooked and shell-shocked beyond recognition. And I've been out on Jones for over a year, and, I know everybody loves to dogpile on Daniel Jones. Everyone loves to make fun of him and ridicule him, but honestly, dude, he doesn't deserve it. Like, yeah, like, I've been out on Jones for over a year. I'm like, "Yeah, this guy's not the answer." Yes, I can acknowledge that he is not the answer at quarterback, but I've always rooted for him. Like, I've always rooted for him to be the guy because he's a super easy guy to root for. Because from the moment he was drafted, he was one of the most hated athletes in the country simply because of where he was drafted. And it's super easy to root for a guy like that. Just a nice guy, works hard, and, unfortunately, it didn't work. And he's not the answer. Like 99% of the people on this planet thought when he was drafted, but throughout his career, the struggles of the Giants have not been anywhere near directly his fault. And it makes me sad to see people just jump on Jones every game when it's not even really his fault. And sure, I get it. The quarterback is always the guy who's on the camera. I get it. It's super easy to look at a quarterback and say he's the problem. And I get it. Like I watch other teams and I say, oh yeah, this quarterback stinks. But when you pay attention to a guy's career and you can see all the things that have happened, like that are out of his control, you can easily tell that the Giant struggles aren't Daniel Jones's fault. Partially his fault. Like he hasn't been good. He hasn't protected the football like he should. But you know what? How can you operate with a horrible GM, horrible coaches, a horrible roster that is constantly changing year in and year out? Tell me what quarterback in the league could have developed under those circumstances. I guarantee you if Josh Allen was drafted by the Giants in 2018, he would have been out of the league by now. Or he would have been even worse on the Carolina Panthers. Josh Allen would not have succeeded here. Lamar Jackson would not have succeeded here. Take a look at the guys in the 2019 draft. Kyler Murray wouldn't have succeeded here. Dwayne Haskins, if he was drafted by the Giants, he would not have succeeded here. Even though he already didn't succeed. God rest his soul. I think guys like Justin Herbert would have been cooked if he was drafted by this team. Joe Burrow maybe would have had a shot because he's played with a terrible offensive line, but he would have been cooked if he was drafted by this team, if he was drafted by Dave Gettleman. No young quarterback in the league today. Think Patrick Mahomes wouldn't have succeeded. Deshaun Watson, despite what a terrible human being he is, talking from a pure football perspective, he wouldn't have succeeded here. No quarterback drafted in the last 5 years would have succeeded in the situation that Daniel Jones was thrown into. And that's all I have to say about that. Anyways, I think that'll about do it for today's show. Real fun. No, a lot better than last week. No, I was feeling a little under the wire last week. That's why I was a little lower energy. But no, I was happy to bring the heat today. I'm always happy to bring the heat. So, anyways, from the studios of WIUR, this has been Woolley Mammoth Wednesdays. I am Cameron Woolley. And as always, stay classy, New Rochelle.